Colin Cowherd basically said that Patrick Ewing is no Anthony Davis. That Dream Team couldn't, beat, I guess, this team, whatever team Anthony Davis was on, and just that Patrick Ewing was no Anthony Davis. What do you think about that?
I just think it's just easy. Always been easy to slight Patrick Ewing, disrespect what his contribution was to the game of basketball, to the NBA, to all of that. It's easy to do that because he is attached to the New York Knicks, right? It's just easy to do that. But if you watched basketball, if you saw, if you were around, if you understood what that era was like, watching him in his prime, he was just as good as all of them, right? We could rank them differently, right? David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaq, Zoe, Kembe. I mean, the cream of the crop. But to say that Patrick Ewing is not Anthony Davis, he is not Anthony Davis. Yes, I agree. He is not Anthony Davis. But that's not a slight on who Patrick Ewing was as a basketball player. It's just not. It's just not. Patrick Ewing learned how to become an offensive threat. Like, he literally worked on becoming an offensive threat as a pro. This is not something that happened in college. He was strictly a defensive player in college. A guy that swallowed up the rim. Pause. Right? You could not get to the basket against Georgetown. He was the rim protector, that prototypical rim protector. So what I'm saying is, like, he turned into an offensive threat. He didn't walk into the league, with the skill set of Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal's dominance. He didn't come into the league like that. He had to learn, and he turned himself into a damn good perimeter shooter. He turned himself into one of the best post players. Still was great defensively, right? We just attached, because it was an era of his peers won, and so he is not one of those guys that won amongst his peers. Now we start chipping away at his career. We start always remembering the moments, the finger roll. We remember those moments and it's just, I think it's ridiculous, the slight that he gets as a pro. This is a Hall of Famer. This is a Hall of Fame guy. This is a preeminent all-star in the league, right? You pencil him in as an all-star. 11, 10-time all, however many. Like, so just the disrespect. Always top 10 scoring. I used to run to the box score to see what Pat was doing, after the. It's just, I don't know, man. That's like that he got, like, to compare him to Anthony Davis. Is he Anthony Davis? No. Anthony Davis is absolutely a generational player. Anthony Davis, absolutely, in terms of talent, just talent alone, is, in my opinion, yes, he's head and shoulders above what Patrick Ewing is. Talent, yes. But so what? Is my point. So what? Okay, Anthony Davis is better than him. Both guys are top 75 players. Both guys will go down as Hall of Famers, right? Anthony Davis is a champion. Guess what? He played next to LeBron James. Let me know in the comments, y'all. I'm asking this. Please help me. I don't need help, but I'm going to ask y'all for help anyway. Please help me. Who is Patrick Ewing's second best player in his prime? Tell me who his second best player was on his team to help elevate him and the team. Who was the second best player Patrick Ewing ever played with that gave him an opportunity to win a championship? Like, those are the conversations that we don't want to have all the time. Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson, they come. Patrick Ewing is not in his prime, y'all. Let's be honest.
Because if he was,
come on.
Mike would have had problems. Yeah, Robert Paulson. Mike would have had a problem if they would have traded John Starks for Sprewell like they should have in 93, 94. Problems. We didn't have a Sprewell.
I just don't get it. If John Starks is your second best player, That doesn't set you up for success. And that's not a slight against John Starks. Because all Knicks fans in the comments that's watching, myself, yourself, I know you had to learn to love John, but we love John.
Yeah.
We love John. But that's the point.
I don't think I fully loved John Starks until I seen him on the sideline in the playoffs this past year. Because that's what he did.
John was amazing. John was amazing. But that's John. That's John.
But that's what he did in the game.
Yes. That was John.
And you know what messed me up? I'm like, yo, I might have been even crazier on the court. If I could play ball. And if you look at John Starks highlights, your man was crossing dudes up, reverse layup, got a couple dunks on people.
John was a hell of a basketball player. Hell of a basketball player. I have nothing bad to say about John Starks because he gave us his all as a Knick. I'm just saying that if he's your second best player during that era, you're not, where you're going is limited. It just is. It just is. John Starks was not a top 5 player at his position during that time. That's a fact. He wasn't. He was not. So that's slight against Patrick Ewing, man. Patrick Ewing came in. He's a number 1 overall pick. Completely changed the Knicks organization. When I hear how my pops, big shout out to Big Flea, OG Flea. What do we call him?
OG Flea.
OG Flea, okay. Big shout out to OG Flea, right? When my pops talks about the 80s Knicks, it's almost in like, my pops doesn't talk in like complete disgust about a lot of things. But when he refers to the 80s Knicks, it's in complete disgust because we were in complete disarray during that decade, right? Shot moments, spots, right? There's spots. The Bernard King, we love Nard. That's why we always talk about BK. But my pops is one of the only people that I know that was around for the 69 championship. That was around for whatever the last championship, the 70 championship, right? That was around for the last 2 championships. Somebody that vividly remembers it and watched it. That's one only person I really know on a personal level that it was that. He talks about the 80s like it was awful. Like it was just so hard to watch Knicks basketball, but because you loved them so much, you did it. When Patrick Ewing was drafted, that is the catalyst of the change of how people looked at the New York Knicks. It was. So, are there things that we could criticize about Patrick Ewing? 100%, but I'm not with that today.
The 2 biggest moments that when I look back on it from the 80s that really changed the Knicks was the fact that they didn't buy Dr. J's contract when he came over from Long Island. He was playing for New Jersey or the Nets in the ABA. And the ABA, the Nets, they weren't allowed to be in the same, because they were in a similar jurisdiction as the Knicks. They had to give something up. So they had to give up Dr. J. The Knicks had a chance to get him, and they didn't do it. That's how the Sixers got him. And the second thing is, we didn't ride out the Bernard King injury. I think he was there for a year, injured on the bench, injured reserve or whatever, but for Patrick Ewing's first year. And obviously, had we got some sort of threat like that, because what he did with was it the Nets afterwards or Golden State afterwards?
Washington.
Bullets afterwards.
He was an all-star.
Yeah, he was still just, you talk about skilled. Give me the ball, man.
BK.
And you can look back
on it. Rory Sparrow and Louis Orr. Y'all do y'all homework. Rory Sparrow and Louis Orr. Respect. And I think Louis Orr has passed on. So I think rest in peace, Louis Orr. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry. But
Ewing went through a lot. Anthony Davis bailed out. He said, "That's all, folks, in New Orleans." See,
that's all, folks.
He had Rondo over there to help him out and got him past the Trailblazers or Golden State. They gave Golden State a run for their money, but they got past Dame Lillard and the Trailblazers,
Yeah,
and
they
it was an
swept them.
amazing series.
They swept them.
And I guess they were lucky DeMarcus Cousins was hurt. But point is, no disrespect, Patrick Ewing didn't have a Rajon Rondo. He didn't have a top 5 player at a position aside from himself. It's just a fact. Anthony Davis went and got
And
help.
at the beginning, let's be fair. At the beginning, they fumbled a few. They fumbled Mark Jackson. They fumbled Rod Strickland. Right? They fumbled a few that were in place to do some things. Right? We were in place. We swept the Sixers that first round series. Mark Jackson, I think that's Mark Jackson's rookie year, I believe. Somebody fact check that for me.
Because the next season he got traded to the Clippers.
Yeah, right.
Was it him? No, I think Strickland's second year. Because that's when he went to the Clippers and Mark Jackson, Larry Brown was there. Because Larry Brown knew. So when Larry Brown went to Indiana, he got Mark Jackson again.
He went and grabbed Mark, right.
So the Knicks fumbled some time there. And I'm not going to make this an all-out Patrick Ewing love fest because you know how I feel about him with he could have done things differently. There's some smoke to Charles Oakley's fire where he's saying, Ewing wasn't a great leader or whatever it was. Okay.
Pat was going to get low too. He was going to take his ass to Golden State and become part of that Run TMC thing. I don't know if people know that, but he was going to take his ass over there and play with Don Nelson, which a couple years later realized that he didn't like playing for Don Nelson. I don't know if y'all remember that. We had Donnie Nelson for half a season, and Pat got his ass right up out of there quickly.
Another big mistake by the Knicks. You know how I feel about Don Nelson.
Yeah, that's one of your favorite guys, yeah.
But Anthony Davis, we get it. You ain't stick around. You ain't go through the grind. You bailed on New Orleans, and then on the Lakers. How the hell you got LeBron next to you and he's still 40 years old? Honestly, kind of outworking you. You're being real. And you know how I feel about the third option. Anthony Davis should be ashamed of himself. If I'm being honest. Yeah, finally you got to play over 70 games in the season. Congratulations, bro. Stop robbing everybody. If Anthony Davis came out and said, I'm taking half my money next season and do the Jalen Brunson, we'd all be like, oh, damn. But you're not. You're not. You want to rob the Lakers because you want to listen to Clutch and everything. You're a follower. Patrick Ewing ain't follow nobody. At the end of the day, he was a stubborn old Jamaican. He wasn't playing none of them games. He wasn't playing none of them games. Get out of here, Anthony Davis. You one of the spoiled brats that Patrick Ewing paved the way for.
Stubborn old Jamaican nigga. I love him.